Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. The Bold and the Beautiful Monday, November 4 update. Brooke slams Ridge for Hope's downfall. Carter's fury grows. The Bold and the Beautiful B&V. Spoilers update for Monday, November 4, reveals that Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, will want the full scoop on what drove Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McThinswood, to her breaking point. Carter will assume some major drama must have gone down since Hope Logan, Annika Noel, told him that she got fired. Hope's line is suddenly gone, and a compromising position is the reason why. Since Steffi got the wrong idea about Hope throwing herself at John Finnegan, Tanner Nublin, in lingerie, she promptly ended Hope for the future and kicked Hope out of the building for good. Carter will blow his top once Hope gives him updates on how it all played out. In Carter's opinion, it'll be yet another example of Steffi thinking the worst of Hope and constantly trying to inflict misery. Carter will also have some bad news for Hope since Eric Forrester, John McCook, rejected his proposal for being too risky. Things definitely aren't going Carter and Hope's way at the moment, but Carter will soon cook up a plan that could change their lives for the better. In the meantime, a livid Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, will learn Hope's done at Forrester Creations. Steffi's decision to cast Hope aside will leave Brooke demanding answers, but she won't like the ones Ridge Forrester, Thorsten K., gives her. Brooke may not be all that surprised by Steffi refusing to listen to Hope's explanation for the Finn incident. Steffi isn't fond of hearing Hope out, so Brooke may suggest that's nothing new. However, Ridge's role in all this will definitely catch Brooke off guard and leave her questioning his loyalty. Brooke will be offended over Ridge supporting Steffi in throwing her daughter out of the company. Of course, Ridge has a daughter to think about too. Since this isn't the first time Hope's been caught in a scandalous Finn predicament, Ridge will act like he had no choice but to stand by Steffi. Brooke won't see it that way at all and will vehemently defend Hope on Monday's B&B episode. Since Brooke is privy to Hope and Carter's romantic entanglement, she'll feel certain that Hope wasn't actually trying to seduce Finn. Brooke promised Carter and Hope that she'd keep quiet about their secret romance, but will she resist the temptation to blab? Regardless, the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers say Carter will fight back in a big way in the coming episodes, so stick with us for more predictions on his strategy and the mayhem ahead for the Forresters. The corridors of Forrester Creations pulsed with tension, an undercurrent of unease threading through the chatter of designers, models, and executives. It was Monday morning, and the air carried a crisp, almost electric chill that had nothing to do with the LA weather. It was the aftermath of a weekend that had left wounds raw and relationships strained, and the ripple effect was about to reach its crescendo. Brooke Logan stood by the towering glass windows of the executive office, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. She was the epitome of poise, dressed in a sleek ivory blouse, paired with a pencil skirt that accentuated her confidence, but her eyes told a different story. They burned with a familiar mix of fury and heartbreak. Ridge Forrester was late, as usual when he wanted to avoid an argument. But today, he wouldn't get that reprieve. The door creaked open, and Ridge walked in with a kind of swagger that only someone accustomed to dodging confrontations could manage. His salt and pepper hair was styled perfectly, but there was weariness in his face that not even the California sun could disguise. He looked at Brooke, his eyes scanning her expression for clues. But before he could utter a word, she launched into him. "How could you, Ridge? How could you stand by and let this happen to Hope?" Brooke's voice was a razor, slicing through the air between them. Ridge's jaw tensed. He had anticipated this moment, but even now, standing in front of her, he wasn't sure how he would navigate it. "Brooke, you know it's not that simple," he began, his tone pleading for understanding that he knew wouldn't come. Hope made her choices. No, Brooke cut him off, taking a step closer as if to punctuate her words. You facilitated those choices. You protected Thomas when you knew how dangerous he was. And now look at where we are. Look at what's happened to Hope. You may not have pushed her, but you sure as hell didn't do anything to stop her from falling. Ridge sighed, running a hand over his face. The guilt that he had managed to keep at bay all weekend surged to the surface. Thomas, his son, was the cause of so much upheaval. Yet the father in him, stubborn and blind, had clung to the belief that redemption was possible. That loyalty now threatened to tear apart everything else he held dear. I was trying to be a father, Brooke, he said, his voice softer now, almost broken. I was trying to believe in my son. Brooke's eyes glistened with unused tears. And by doing that, you chose him over everyone else. Over Hope, over our family. How many more people have to get hurt for you to see the truth? Before Ridge could respond, a sharp knock on the office door made them both turn. Carter Walton stepped in, his usual composed demeanor replaced by something harsher, more jagged. He was wearing a dark suit that seemed to mirror the storm brewing inside him. I hope I'm not interrupting, Carter said, but his tone suggested he didn't care if he was. His gaze flicked between Brooke and Ridge, quickly deducing the emotional battleground he had walked into. He didn't care. He had his own battle to fight. Carter, Ridge started, but Carter's raised hand silenced him. No, Ridge, not today. I'm here to talk about the contracts for the Hope for the Future line, Carter said, his voice tight. Or what's left of it. The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to go off. Ridge's eyes narrowed, defensive now. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the fact that Thomas' latest stunt, if you can even call it that, has tanked Hope's brand credibility. Carter snapped. Investors are pulling out, and we're hemorrhaging reputation faster than we can contain it. Brooke's eyes flashed with a mix of anger and vindication. See, Ridge, this is what your blind faith in Thomas has cost us. It's cost Hope everything she worked for. It's cost her peace, stability. And don't forget self-respect, Carter interjected, his voice dropping to a bitter murmur. She trusted too much, loved too deeply, and now she's paying the price. Ridge felt like the walls were closing in on him. Each accusation was a nail in the coffin of whatever hope he had that this could be resolved without dismantling everything. His silence only fanned the flames. Carter, I understand you're upset. Ridge started, but Carter cut him off again. No, Ridge, you don't understand. You think this is just business, don't you? But it's personal. Hope trusted us to protect her, and we failed. You failed. He let out a breath, as if trying to control the fire threatening to erupt. And now I have to be the one to clean up the mess. Carter's words were laced with frustration and something more, a deep sense of betrayal. Ridge realized that this wasn't just about hope for the future. It was about what Forrester Creations stood for, what it meant to those who believed in it. And right now, those foundations were cracking. Brooke turned to Carter, her expression softening as if to show she understood. Thank you, Carter, she said. I know this isn't easy for you. Carter nodded, his jaw tight. I'll do what I can to salvage what's left, but it's not going to be pretty. And Ridge, he added, turning back to the man who once commanded his respect. If you want to fix this, you're going to have to stop defending the indefensible. With that, Carter walked out, leaving the door ajar and silence in his wake. Ridge looked at Brooke, who was now studying him with an expression that seemed to question everything they had shared. Is this who we are now, Ridge? She whispered. A family that sacrifices its own to save a sinking ship. Ridge didn't have an answer, at least not one she wanted to hear. The silence between them thickened, the chasm that Thomas had carved growing wider. And somewhere deep inside, Ridge felt the first true flicker of doubt about the choices he'd made in the name of family.